Here we are, AfriKili family, Global PAC Nation. Welcome to the Global PAC Show. This is your host, Tony Full Simba. Well, first of all, Happy New Year's to everybody. It is so exciting to be here. This is our first live ever. As you can notice, the format is very different from what we have done until now, from the time AfriKili began a couple of years ago. So again, I just wanted to start by saying Happy New Year to everybody who might be joining in. I really hope 2025 is starting on a positive note for all of you, your respective family. Just wishing good health, joy, happiness, plenty of success in 2025 and beyond. Well, as I said when I was starting, I mean, this is actually a very exciting moment for me. Honestly, a very, very exciting time because this has been a long time coming. This is the first live ever. Now, it's one of those things that I think most of you can relate. Many of us have that one voice inside of you, right? Where you just know deep inside that there's something that you have to do, and there's that voice that just won't that won't die out, that it's always in the back of your mind. You need to keep going. And I strongly believe when we have that one voice inside of us, it is something that is really worth pursuing. And so in my case here, it is about this life. From the time I began AfriKili, as you will see if you're new to this channel or if you've been following this channel, I've brought several heavily produced videos where there's a lot of research done, and it was nicely done. So we presented the result of the research and so on and so forth. And there is definitely community created about that. Nevertheless, as I was engaging into it, there's always that one impetus, or that one voice inside that kept telling me, you know what, we actually need to go live and we need to go into conversation. And this might come from, when I started this whole experience, I actually used to do a lot of live radio shows. So I was a radio show host for quite a few years. And so that is, from what I can recall, the times when I was really, really alive. And so that is the format that I think suits us best going forward. We will still have conversation. We'll still bring recorded formats and so on. Produced videos. We're working on bringing interviews and so on. But more often than not, going live and having live conversations like this, and hopefully grow a community out of this where we can, as we grow, as you get used to this format, as I get better, because obviously this will be heavily dependent on the sort of feedback you provide. But as we grow with this, we can really create an interactive community and platform. And so I want to make something clear, nevertheless, is that the objectives have not changed. The only reason why I think going live is definitely worthwhile, there's so many events that are happening that are very, very relevant to our community, right? That are happening on an ongoing basis. The problem with the sort of format I had before is that, one, it took a very long time to really put the videos, good quality videos together, but we kind of missed out on those events that are happening. And many of those relevant events, I believe I had things to say and opinions and commentary about that. And so I want that to be the case. And as I mentioned a few minutes ago, the idea is that as we start really discussing those with an AfriKili point of view, because after all, our community came together when we started with a certain angle, certain point of view. But as we start having those interactive community, then we will have a more sort of recurrent contact, and we'll have lives and we'll have conversations as we go. as we go forward. So I really want that to be the case as events are happening, relevant events, to bring them on this platform and so we can discuss them and grow in that sense. As a reminder, I mean, when we started AfriKili, the goals were pretty clear, right? We want to build bridges in the global PAC, the global Pan-African community. That was the idea of AfriKili, and doing that by focusing on three pillars. We had our pillars of history, where I felt it was very important to always understand that the situation that we live today is the result of events and policies and so on that happened in the past. So it is important to really understand how we got to where we are today if we want to have a stronger impact going forward and actually not repeat the mistakes of the past and devise course of actions that would be more productive. And so history is one of the important pillars, but we also have political action because it is evident, in my opinion, that our societies are molded and shaped by policies and in political arena. So it is important to also have coalitions that will work within those arenas if we want to impact change. And lastly, business. I mean, because money is an essential part of the equation, because you can have all the fantastic philosophies and theories and desire for change, but if you do not have the financial means to support that effort, then unfortunately your effort will not go forward. And so that is why those three pillars were essential when we started AfriKili. I'm mentioning that so that you know our community, our Global PAC community, does not change that. Those objectives are the same. It's just that we're kind of expanding the scope as we go forward. One of the things I used to like saying on those videos, if you've been following, is that our platform was really not about pointing the finger, right? Not about just blaming and accusing, but rather advancing. And so I want this Global PAC show, these live shows and these live conversations, once we start having comments and so on, to really still be about that. This is about advancing, right? Yes, we discuss problems, and yes, we might pinpoint the origin of those problems, but ultimately it's about designing solutions as we go forward. And so I really want this platform to keep that positivity and that solution-driven approach as we go forward, because that's the only way we'll advance. It's not about just lingering and blaming, but we need to come up with concrete solutions as we advance, as we build bridges to kind of change the condition of our global Pan-African community, as we've been discussing from the get-go on AfriKili. So yeah, so that's that. I mean, it's one thing also I want to mention. So just staying with this theme of solution-driven approach. I actually want to bring up one of the series I did. If you were on the AfriKili, which by the way, if I strongly would like to ask you if you like the contents that we do, please don't hesitate to like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel so that I can grow, but more importantly, provide your feedback so that I can know how to improve. But as I was saying, one of the series I did was a 3-part series on closing the wealth gap. And so I've done 2 parts already of the 3-part series. Looking forward to the third one that will be coming up very soon. But you will notice that as I was going through that, mentioning the financial racial wealth gap. So the first 2 series, we kind of connected the issue to home ownership, but also education. It's essential to understand again that racial wealth gap, like closing the racial wealth gap, is, I can't stress that enough. It is essential if we want to change the conditions of Black people whether it's people in the Global PAC, in the Global Pan-African community, whether it is people on the African continent, but the wealth gap has to be closed. Because whether it's, again, policies that you want to affect right in the political arena, I mean, if you don't have money, you might as well forget it, right? It's kind of like that expression that says, money talks, BS walks. All right. Okay. If you want a more sanitized version, it's he who has the gold rules, right? So it's activism and advocating for change again is obviously very central. But I want to stress the fact again that as a community, focusing on the wealth gap and how to close it is something that is very, very important to AfriKili and also will be very important to the Global PAC Show as we go forward. So we'll always figure out as we come up with solutions, we will try to tie it also to, on the financial side, how do we improve our conditions and how do we close the wealth gap and how do we create wealth going forward. And actually on that note, I believe that the African continent provides a tremendous opportunity for wealth creation. We have often heard that Africa is the continent of the future, but I mean I would argue that when was that never the case? When was Africa never really a source of tremendous wealth? Unfortunately, whether we look at, for example, the times of slavery, when brothers and sisters were taken out of the continent, well, that was a tremendous human resource that was taken out, unfortunately, and our brothers and sisters were relocated in, whether it's in the Caribbean, in the Americas, what's not, in Europe, to essentially build those societies, which could not have been built without that human resource. And today, now we're talking about natural resources, minerals that are very strategic and important to transition of the world. So we talk about minerals that you need for energy transition, for example. They're located throughout Africa, with a prominent country being the Democratic Republic of the Congo in Central Africa, that has estimated trillion dollars worth of those natural resources. Well, unfortunately, even today, that Africa is seen as that continent that will help the world transition, whether it's energy and otherwise. But unfortunately, that wealth is not, the multinationals that are mining those minerals are not led by continental Africans or member of the Global PAC community. And so to me, that presented tremendous opportunity, right, to organize and come together and really put our heads together and utilize the continent as a solution, as a potential source for us to create a lot more wealth, which ultimately helps close the racial wealth gap. And if you're located in the United States, like I am at this moment, for example, sure, there are so many different possibilities and opportunities to create wealth within the United States. We have all our traditional wealth creation mechanisms, right? Whether you invest in the public market, stocks, real estate, you have many different tools to allow us to do that. But I still want to stress the fact that Africa is there. It's a continent that provides, again, tremendous opportunity for wealth creation. But that has to be done in a model where, in a collaborative model, in my opinion, where continental Africans come hand in hand with the global diaspora, right, working in coalition so that we can take the reins of the economic machine in the African continent and then use that as a strong base to allow us to really be part of the economic transformation of the world and leading that effort. So there you have it. I mean, this is a very short first live, and this last part when I talked about wealth creation, unlike or the when I talked about the global wealth gap, unlike the other episodes on AfriKili, as which were heavily produced, this was more conceptual, right? This was more of a conversation. But this is kind of like what I want to stress. Like going forward, we'll have a lot of this conversation, right? And then, but also stay tuned because I'm working on bringing interviews. So we'll be aiming for at least once a month to bring you some very instrumental individuals that will discuss with us, and we'll make this an interview. I have to remove the rust from my radio days again when I used to do those interviews on an ongoing basis on FM radio. Now we'll bring it onto this platform, and then I'll also still bring some of the produced content. As I'm closing, really let me stress again the fact that I will really need your help, your comments, right, your feedback, but also subscribing to the channel, so that I really want to turn this into a strong platform, into an influential platform, into a relevant platform that will actually bring very concrete and relevant solutions to help advance our cause. But your help will be very needed for that. Again, comment, like, subscribe, share. And as we go forward, I'm very excited. I can't wait to see what the future holds on this new live format. I'm sure it will improve a lot as we go. This being the very first one, as we figure out all this equipment, how to properly position it for live videos. But I really look forward to that. So there you have it, Global PAC Nation and AfriKili family. Thank you for tuning in, or if you watch this video later, I wish you the best from where you are around the world. And until next time, peace be with you. Thank you very much, and let's keep this going. Thank you very much, AfriKili.